How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to Rangers Rundown. A roller coaster of a game, for me at least. I spent a majority of this game sitting on my couch wondering why the hell the Rangers were still in it and constantly thinking the Leafs are going to score at any point and we're going to lose this game. I was convinced the Rangers were not going to win this game the way that they played most of it. Shesterkin kept him in it, and wouldn't you frickin' know it, they come out of the overtime winning it 2-1, beating the Toronto Maple Leafs for their second win in a row, putting together a little 2-game win streak. We'll see how far they can push this against the Preds Thursday night. But let's hop into this game. Kakko is on IR officially for an upper body injury, and Strome is still in COVID protocol. So we're missing two top six guys in the lineup, and they still pull out a win. I mean, this game, I should have a Shesterkin magnet, and it should really just be Shesterkin against the Maple Leafs, because that's pretty much what it was tonight. With those two out of the lineup tonight was Lafreniere, Zibanejad, Kreider, top line. Hedl again on the second line for the second game in a row with Panarin and Gaudreau. Rooney on the third line tonight with Blais and Gauthier, and then McKegg on the fourth line between Hunt and Reeves. Defensemen exactly the same: Lindgren, Fox, Miller, Trouba, Nemeth, Lundqvist, and of course Shesterkin in net. First period, about a minute into the game, Gaudreau takes a high sticking penalty, and I think it's a minute into the game, and I'm already thinking, this is the Maple Leafs. They have so much firepower and such a good power play. You can't take penalties against them. And luckily, nothing would come from that penalty, but just in the back of my head, I'm always thinking, don't take penalties tonight. It's going to kill you. Kreider and Rooney on the second penalty kill unit, which I thought was interesting to see. They were on the ice for about a minute and a half, so they got a lot of penalty kill time. Kreider not really a penalty killer, but nice to see him out there. 6:24, Lundqvist right off the post. He got a pass from Panarin, of course, one of those sneaky Panarin passes, and he just wrists it, goes right off the crossbar. So Lundqvist with almost his first NHL goal. About 7 minutes in, both teams were struggling to set up sustained pressure, although Toronto was definitely controlling more of the play, and Igor was just standing on his head, making incredible saves right from the start of the game. And right as I was writing that, I spoke too soon because Toronto got suspended pressure. Right as I was finished writing that, Toronto stays in the offensive zone for a good minute, but Shesterkin's standing tall. About halfway through the first period, shots are 5-3 in favor of Toronto. So Rangers are getting shots, just not a lot of sustained pressure cycling the puck. Trouba had a breakout pass to Hunt. He was stymied before getting to the goal, but it's nice to see Hunt moving up into the forecheck. 11:30, Kreider shot ends up in the crease, but it was cleaned out. It was starting to trickle. I don't think it had enough momentum to get over the line, but it was cleared out before anybody could score on it. With it, I should say. Minute later, 12:30, Gauthier had a very strong move to the net, so it was good to see him stepping up into the forecheck. Campbell poke checked it away. Campbell only faced 23 shots tonight, which, only 23 shots. That's a decent amount of shots, but there was a major chunk of this game where he did not face any shots. And if you're a Toronto fan, yes, your team controlled play most of the game, but your goalie also hasn't seen any shots, and that isn't always a good thing. That's a recipe for an easy goal sneaking in on him. But Campbell played a very good game, I gotta say. And then at 13:53, Zibanejad would score a goal. I believe it was her first one of the season, Zibanejad's first goal of the season at 13:53. Reeves forced an offensive zone turnover. It was called off at first because it bounced off the post and then off of the goalie camera and came right out. So in real time, it looks like it just came off the post and out. So the ref called it off. And then luckily, they only played about 10 seconds, and then the puck went out of play, and they went and looked back, and sure enough, the overhead cam Shows it going in, hitting the camera. So Zibanejad would get that goal, putting the Rangers up 1-0. Zibanejad would get another chance shortly after that goal with Lafreniere, but they couldn't hook up like they did in the other game. 16:33, Trouba would take a hooking penalty, and McKegg Zibanejad was penalty kill 1, and then Rooney and Goudreau penalty kill 2. Shesterkin, couple of good saves. Also, Toronto hit a couple of posts on that power play as well. Miller and Zibanejad had a short-handed 2-on-1 chance, but they missed the pass. Common theme throughout the evening. End of the first period, shots 10-12 in favor of Toronto. The penalty kill is 2 for 2 for the Rangers, though. But I'm just thinking Toronto is so dangerous. And from the first period through the rest of the game, Toronto is just so good at moving the puck. Their passes are great. Their cycling is great. They were able to set up sustained pressure time and time and time again. So for the Rangers to get out of the first period up 1-0, I thought was amazing in itself. Second period, 1 minute in, a bad line change by the Rangers leads to a 3-on-2 for Toronto, but Shesterkin made a great save, per usual. And then at 1:36, Bunting would score his second goal of the season. It was thrown to the net, it bounces around, it hits Bunting, kind of slides underneath, Shesterkin gets into the net. Sloppy goal, but Bunting gets it, and Toronto ties the game 1-1 early in the second. 2 minutes in, Dermott would take a tripping penalty. Second power play unit, Hedel, Hunt, and Blais. So an interesting combination. Obviously, Strome and Kakko out of the lineup, so they needed to figure something out. But it was an interesting little second power play unit with both Hunt and Blais getting some more power play time for Blais. But Hunt getting on the power play was nice to see, too. They were in the offensive zone for a total of probably 20 seconds. Of the 2 minutes of power play time, 20 seconds, maybe that's, a little too much. Maybe that's being nice. They got stopped at the blue line almost every single time. Toronto would just get the puck, throw it out. Rangers would try and come back in. Toronto would get the puck, throw it out. It was a little disheartening to see. Just the Rangers are really struggling with forecheck. They rarely get past the blue line in any sort of contained fashion. And when they dump and chase, Toronto just gets the puck, and their passing is so great that they just skate right out of the zone. It was really hard for the Rangers to set anything up tonight. It was getting disheartening. 9 minutes in, Shesterkin got a flurry of saves. Toronto's forecheck way better in the second period than the first. Not that it was bad in the first period, but Toronto was just... They're firing on all cylinders in the second period. And Shesterkin is also firing on probably one more cylinder than they are. 9:54, Toronto would take a too many men, which Tavares would serve in the box. At this point, about halfway through the game, halfway through the second period, Toronto was winning 72% of the faceoffs. Now, I've said in previous videos that face-off percentage doesn't really indicate who's going to win or not. It definitely helps with possession, but you need to do something with the puck if you win the face-off. But if you're losing 72% of the face-offs, that is obviously going to stifle your ability to set up any sort of offense. And clearly it did tonight. And Toronto's penalty kill is just, it's suffocating. There are different styles of penalty kill you see around the league. Some teams will play a very reserved box right in front of the goalie and let you pass it around the edge and just not let you get in the middle. That wasn't Toronto's game tonight. As soon as a player touches the puck, they get suffocated by somebody, force them to make a not great pass. Toronto player suffocates that guy. It was just, Rangers could not move anything. Finally, we get to 13:36 of the second period, and it was the Rangers' first shot on goal that period since 3:09. So they went over 10 minutes of the second period without a shot on goal. It wasn't looking good. Shesterkin's the only reason this game is 1-1. And as I was writing that, the announcer said, Shesterkin's the only reason this game is 1-1. And I was like, hey, get out of my head. Just missed passes, sloppy passes, not a good forecheck. Penalties aren't helping them. The dump and chase isn't working. They're losing too many faceoffs. It's just a combination of all these things. And Toronto just, arguably being a better team. Like, it's hard to argue against that, especially with two of their top 6 players out of the lineup. Toronto Gauthier would take a hooking penalty at 16:42. Shesterkin controlling the puck so well, no rebounds, not giving Toronto any second chances on these shots. Zibanejad had a shorthanded chance on that penalty kill, didn't go in. End of the period, Toronto outshot the Rangers 17-2. 2 in that period. The Rangers had 2 shots on goal in the second period to Toronto's 17. And Shesterkin saved 16 out of 17 shots just in the second period. And they're winning 71.4% of the faceoffs after 2 periods. This second period was possibly the worst period of the season for the Rangers so far. And we know in that first game against Washington, they had a bad period or two. I think this is in contention for the worst period of the season so far. Now, they've played 4 games. There's been 12 periods, plus 2 periods of overtime. The whole season so far, yeah, I get it. It was bad. It was bad. So going into the third period, I wasn't holding my breath for a win. Gallant must have said something to him, because the third period was better than the second. Not obviously where we would like to see it, but it was better. Zibanejad won the opening face-off of the third period, so good start. And Kreider had a shot on goal shortly after, so again, good start, making up for the losses they had in period 2. Panarin had a giveaway, which led to a Matthews shot, but a Shesterkin save. It was a scary play to watch, because as Matthews got that puck, in my head, I'm thinking, well, that's the game. He's going to score. Matthews didn't score tonight, which I was expecting him to do. It was his first game of the season. He missed Toronto's first couple games. He had wrist surgery in August, so this was his first game of the season. Didn't end up on the scoreboard, though. Hedel, Lafreniere, and Gaudreau was a line for a little bit in that third period, and they showed a little glimmer. They had a little bit of pressure in the offensive zone, which was nice to see. Not a line that any of us would have combined before the season started, but hey, they did a little bit of work. 5:15, Gauthier was pulled down, and I thought we were going to get a power play, but there was a no call. Some Rangers were confused on the ice as well as to why there wasn't a call. And at this point, Toronto's already up in shots in the third period, 7-1. So it's just over 5 minutes into the period. Toronto already has 7 shots on goal. Shesterkin stood on his freaking head. Shortly after that, Panarin almost scores, and Zibanejad forced a turnover, which led Panarin to almost score. 8:30, Blais almost scores. Rangers get a brief bout of pressure in the offensive zone. 11:05, Kreider almost tips it in, so Kreider almost with a 4-game goal streak, but he didn't quite tip it in. And then 11:46, Muzzin would take a hooking penalty, and whenever your team gets a power play, you think, great, this is our chance to score a goal, get things moving. But it's the penalties that they've had, or the power plays they've had this game, amounted to 1 shot on goal if they were lucky. So I had a brief moment where I was like, great, power play, let's close it out. Oh, wait, they're probably not going to be able to get past the freaking blue line. And they weren't able to get past the blue line. Because the Toronto penalty kill is just so good. Towards the end, they finally set something up, which was nice to see, but no goal. 16:05, Zibanejad had a huge chance, but Campbell... Zibanejad had a shot. Campbell didn't quite know where it was, so he looked behind him, and I thought it was going to trickle in, but it was in front of him. It ended up getting cleared away, so it was a brief jump off the couch moment, but no cigar. In the last minute, Rangers get close. Pressure's getting a little bit more consistent towards the end of the third period, so I'm thinking, okay, carry this momentum into overtime. See if you can set something up, 3-on-3 overtime, more open ice. Maybe the Rangers can generate something. Now we get to the overtime. If you didn't watch the game live, you have to watch the highlights. Skip the first 3 periods, because if you're a Rangers fan, you shouldn't watch this game again. It's just going to make you sad. But watch the overtime highlights. It was crazy. This overtime made up for the lackluster game that the Rangers had played. It was nuts. Early in the overtime, Matthews got a really good chance, scary chance, and then shortly after, Trouba gets a really good, scary chance. And then shortly after that, Nylander gets a really good, scary chance. It was just back and forth, great chances, and the goalies were shutting it down. Matthews had another wraparound chance that was close. Shesterkin came out to play a puck. He was like 20 feet out of the net to play a puck, and the pass ends up on a Toronto stick. They try and shoot it into the empty net, and Shesterkin makes the save 20 feet out of the net. And Toronto hits it again. It gets past them, and it trickles just by the net. Like, the crowd was just apoplectic what was going on. And then on the other side, Zibanejad was robbed. Campbell robbed him right with the glove. I thought it was over. I thought Zibanejad would score. Campbell just freaking ripped that glove out, got the puck out of the air. And then at 3:48, Panarin would shut it down with his first goal of the season, the overtime winner. And ironically, it was off of a Zibanejad face-off win. So there you go. Sometimes face-offs really do matter. Zibanejad won the face-off, got it to Panarin, closes it out. It made up for the lackluster game. Go watch the highlights. Tomorrow, I'm going to watch those overtime highlights 5 or 6 times. It was just so much fun. Stats at the end of the game. Shots 23-41 in favor of Toronto. Shesterkin saved 40 out of 41 tonight. He was incredible. Face-offs. Rangers won fewer than 25% of the face-offs. They won 1-4. Not great. Power play went 0 for 3. I would be surprised if they had more than 2 shots on the power play tonight. Hits 33-19 in favor of the Rangers, which makes sense because they spent most of the game without the puck. Then blocks 14-12, pretty even between the two teams. The trivia question of the evening: which Ranger legend scored a goal in his NHL debut on this day in 1952? And I will give you a second if you want to think about it. On October 18th, 1952, Harry Howell would score in his NHL debut on this day. So there you go. A little bit of trivia for you. Rangers end up 2-1-1 after this game. So far, 5 points in 4 games. Not bad. Slowly creeping up the standings. I'm surprised at how poorly the Islanders are doing. I did not expect them to be the ones in this division starting 0-2. But hey, there you go. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like it, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next rundown.